flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. There's no one closer. You are flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. We are one. I do pledge my life to you, forever and always. I will take good care of you and shower you with praise. Others try and separate us, but they don't have a chance. No one can take your place, no, not even one. You are flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. We are one. I do give my life to you, today and every day. I will stand right by your side, whatever comes our way. I have searched and searched for someone who'd make my dreams come true, but nowhere else on this earth is there.
But obviously
Good evening.
I will take good care of you and shower you with praise. can separate us, but they don't have a chance. No one can take your place, no, not even one. You are flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. We are one. I do give my life to you today and every day. I will stand right by your side, whatever comes our way. I have searched and searched for someone who'd make but nowhere else on this earth is there anyone like you. The storms of life can blow and blow, but they won't knock me down.
Good evening, everyone. Those of you joining us online via our Zoom or YouTube platforms, and those of us here in the sanctuary, we welcome everyone to our 5th Circuit Youth Forum. Today's forum is a debate on marriage in keeping with our theme for this month, that is Family Month. Is marriage still an option? I would like to welcome our debaters who are members of our circuit, our timekeeper, Sister Latoya Carter, and our moderator for this evening, Sister Carolyn Irving. I promise that this evening's debate will be interesting and engaging, and it will be a discussion that will leave us pondering the question, does marriage change an individual? We will now listen to the song, Flesh of My Flesh, and it'll make us wonder, when we're searching for that special someone, are they a person that will really make our dreams come true? Can they really make our dreams come true? Let us listen.
You are flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. There's no one closer. You are flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. We are one. I do pledge my life to you forever and always. I will take good care of you and shower you with praise. Others try and separate us, but they don't have a chance. No one can take your place, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. We are one. I do give my life to you today and every day. I will stand right by your side, whatever comes our way. I have searched and searched for someone who'd make my dreams come true, but nowhere else on this earth is there anyone like you.
Let us pray. Loving Heavenly Father, we bow before you to give you glory, honor, and praise. You alone, Lord, are worthy of our praise, worship, and adoration. And we thank you for all the blessings that you've bestowed upon us and the love that you've shown us in Jesus Christ. We come to you, Lord, asking for your blessing as we gather together this evening. Bestow your wisdom and love to all of us present today in the sanctuary and those who are joining us from home. Guide our thoughts and our minds and our discussions so that they are pleasing to you, Lord. Fill our conversations with your grace, your truth, and let this debate serve as a way to glorify your name. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I will now hand over to our moderator, Sister Carolyn Irving.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carolyn Irving, a member of the Ocherius Baptist Church, and I will be your moderator for tonight's debate. As we continue to find ways to bring across the word, we have in store for you an exciting debating session by our youth and young adults. As you're aware, this month is Family Month, and as we continue, we will be exploring the marriage topic. The theme for tonight is, Be It Resolved That Marriage Changes an Individual. For those of us who are joining on YouTube and on Zoom, please feel free to leave a comment or question in the chat. I will now be introducing the members of the debating team. From the Affirmative team, we have Tori K. Moncrief from the Ocherius Baptist Church, Karen Davis, also from the Ocherius Baptist Church, and Antoine Cunningham from the Paritone Baptist Church. And from the opposing team, we have Ashana Leng from the Ocherius Baptist Church, Kimani Winter from the Exchange Baptist Church, and Jodian Levy, also from the Ocherius Baptist Church. And as mentioned before, our timekeeper will be Sister Latoya Carter from the Ocherius Baptist Church. At this time, we will reflect on a song called Marriage License by Childlights. It says that I wish that marriage was like a driver's license and should expire every 2 years, with an option to hold just in case love doesn't grow cold. The debate should bring some clarity to this statement. So please reflect on the first verse and the chorus of this song, after which I will go through the rules of the debate.
If I could make a wish and my wish came true, I believe I would have the solution to vows that I made when you say I do. To make it more clear for you to see, here is what my wish would be. I wish that a marriage license was just like a driver's license that expires every 2 years, with an option to hold just in case love doesn't grow cold. Grow cold. Grow cold. Grow cold.
Here are the rules for tonight's debate. The first speaker from the affirmative team will speak for 5 to 10 minutes. This speaker presents the arguments in support of the resolution. The second speaker will be the first speaker from the opposing team, and this speaker presents arguments against the resolution, who also has 5 to 10 minutes. The third speaker will be the second speaker from the affirmative team and will present further arguments in support of the mood. This speaker will identify areas of conflict and respond to questions that may have been raised by the opposition speaker. The allotted time is 5 minutes. The fourth speaker will be the second speaker on the opposing team. This speaker will present further arguments against the mood and answer questions that may have been raised by the second affirmative speaker. This speaker also has a maximum time of 5 minutes. For the rebuttal speakers, the opposing team will speak first and will attempt to defend the opposition arguments and attempt to defeat the supporting arguments without adding any new information. The affirmative team will then rebut. Both teams will have 3 minutes. Once the maximum time is reached, the speakers will hear the sound of a bell indicating that the time has expired. Now that we're clear on the rules of the debate, please welcome our first speaker from the affirmative team, Miss Torike Moncrief from the Ocherius Baptist Church.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, online viewers, judges, my worthy opponents. Today, I, Torike Moncrief, stand here as a proud member and the first speaker of the affirmative team to affirm the moot, be it resolved that marriage changes an individual. By the time I'm finished here today, my teammates and I would have sufficiently discredited the claims of my fellow opponents as it relates to whether or not marriage changes an individual. Before I bring forth my main arguments, please allow me to define some terms that will validate my claims here today. The term changed, defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is the act through which something becomes different. And the term marriage, as defined by Malachi 2 verse 14, is a holy covenant before God, which indicates a physical and emotional union between a man and woman to indicate their commitment and love for each other. To expound on why we agree on the moot, my teammates and I will focus on two key points of how marriage changes an individual. These points are personality and gender roles. Personality in marriage. My opponent, to justify our stance for the moot, an article written by the University of Georgia provides facts and observations on the way in which both female and male can change after getting married and during marriage. These observations are: 1. Husbands become less extroverted. Husbands are less likely to hang out with friends. This makes sense. After all, the reason men leave their house is to meet women. This is the best part of marriage, as they may finally sit at home in their boxers as God intended. Wives become less neurotic. The logic here is that women take on their new role as a wife as they ease into marriage because of comfort and stability. This occurs because there would have been a bond between both individuals, as it creates an environment of familiarity. Husbands become more conscientious, As they take on a new role, it is presumed or expected that they are required to be the head of the house and provide support financially or emotionally to their families. Therefore, husbands work harder and become more responsible. Both parties become less agreeable. You start to fight over little things. Getting the love you want in the first stage of marriage, or that romantic love, is followed by the dreaded power struggle. Once those fluttery feelings fade, you start to notice little flaws that you never noticed before, and start to fight over little things like how they cut their tomatoes or how they brush their hair, because you want them to turn back into that person you would have been bestowed with in the beginning. This can be a terrible and trying stage, but if you manage to get through this phase, it can evolve into a mature love that deepens. It also adds to each individual's understanding of each other. Gender roles in marriage. In an article written by Jean Atkinson entitled Gender Roles in Marriage and the Family, a Critique and Some Proposal, gender role is an issue that permeates nearly all aspects of marital and family life. Understanding the way a female or male operates differently and similarly will heighten our understanding of marriage and family relationships. Although theory and experience seems to insist that gender differences exist, empirical evidences about similarities or differences, with few exceptions, it is not so clear. In this article, it is believed that these ambiguities can be traced in a large part to conceptualize and methodological issues such as construct definitions, measurement techniques, and sampling, as well as inattention to the historical context. Through the article, there's a particular focus on the division of household labor to illustrate how attending more carefully to the method, theory, and history can enlarge our understanding of how gender roles are played out in the family. In the last section of this article, ways are discussed in which gender role issues might throughout and about and study beyond the individual and the diet to the family as a whole. Modern thinking couples can also have difficulties, but their problems tend to be different from those of traditional thinking couples. Women who expect equality and reject traditional gender roles would not sacrifice their happiness to save their marriage out of respect for the institution. They are particularly vigilant of their relationship and will watch carefully how their husbands contribute to home maintenance and how involved they are with the children, how committed they are to their marriage, and so on. When things are unfair and out of balance, they will react strongly. With equality, there are more opportunities for conflict because both parties believe that they should have a say in all decisions. Couples are forced to negotiate and compromise, which increases the chances of fighting. Furthermore, as each party works hard to safeguard their equality and social exchange imbalances because of their point of contention. A wife who thinks she's working harder than she should around the house, and a husband who thinks his wife doesn't respect him, are more likely to confront their partners about their issues. This doesn't necessarily mean couples are less happy today, but anything that increases the chance of conflict can put a marriage at risk. While the edge goes to the modern thinkers, both traditional and modern couples can still be happy. As we said, what's most important is their perspective is that their perspectives are in harmony. My apologies. Where relationships can get particularly tricky is when they are mismatched. It's not hard to imagine that much bigger problems can arise when couples are mixed, especially if the husband is extremely traditional and the wife is not. Consider, for example, how should a couple really deal with housework? A traditional thinking husband would think it's women's work, while his equalitarian thinks wife should demand that he does his share. In these marriages, partners have a very hard time understanding each other, and there are lots of opportunities for conflict. Very often, their conflicts can be resolved because the two partners believe very different things. Ultimately, all the turbulence can weaken their commitment to the relationship. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It is recognized and celebrated for its charm and warm gesture, as it's a commitment that consecrates the love between a man and woman. But my worthy opponents, we must realize that this union requires a whole new dynamic for both parties. It requires embracing new challenges and victories that they will face, as well as diving into a new aspect of their partner's life. Therefore, we affirm the moot, be it resolved, that marriage can change an individual. I thank you.
Thank you, Toriki. Please welcome Ms. Ashana Leng, first speaker of the opposing team.
Good evening, panelists, listeners, and my worthy opponents. In the book, The Family, John Bradshaw compares a healthy marriage to two people playing music together. Both are playing their own instruments. Both play the same song. However, they do so with their own unique skills, playing their parts of the melody perfectly. Each one is independent and committed to playing their melody the best way they can with their instruments, their unique skills, whole and complete. Genesis 2:24 defines marriage as an action where, and I quote, "A man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Bradshaw and the Bible have the same views. Two separate persons become one. Two separate persons, in other words, individuals, come together and become one. The moot, be it resolved that marriage changes an individual, is strongly opposed by my team solely because an individual cannot be changed, and a marriage that aims to change an individual defeats what a marriage should be about in the first place. According to Harvard.edu, an individual is one that behaves, learns, and develops in distinctive ways, showing patterns of variability that are not captured based on statistical average. In other words, individuality is what makes a person different, unique, and special. Psalm 139:13 and 14 says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well." This suggests that each person has their own individuality. We are all different because God did not make any two persons the same, and God's work cannot be changed. Change meaning, according to Cambridge.org, the process or result of making something different or becoming different. Now, Francis Rogers' Personality and Individual article states that an individuality is then the real I, personality, the one seeming. This means that individuality is who you truly are, who you were made to be, the version of you that God created, which is unchanged and unchangeable. Personality, however, is the combination of characteristics or qualities that form a person's character. One's personality is that of a choice, one that we make up, one that is constantly being impacted by those around us and ultimately being in a state of frequent change. Your personality is what your schoolmates or colleagues may see you as. Your individuality is who you're recorded as in the eyes of God. An individual may choose to have a morbid personality, that which we refer to as Gothic, based on their combination personality type. However, them having a particular interest does not mean that they were created to go against what God would want, what God would want them to do, or how He would want them to be. The personality, though it is a big part of who we present ourselves as, is not necessarily who we are at our core. Have you ever noticed that the more you spend time with an individual, the more your personalities become similar? Or have you heard that you and your best friend are practically the same person? I'm sure that we can all say yes. Even if we haven't experienced it directly, we can say we have noticed it in other people. That is change, unquestionably, but that is change in personality and not the individual. And may I repeat the moot to you, please. Be it resolved that that marriage can change an individual. It does not say person or refer to the personality. As was said before, the individual is the unchanging core of our being. Just as individuality is important to an individual, so is individuality important in marriage. How so, you may wonder? Marriage is a gift from God. God requires each of us to be our best true selves, that is, our individual selves, in our true marriage And a true marriage should not aim to change. Isn't marriage the union between two persons who love each other? Then why would they change what they love? Was the aim of the marriage to change the individual? And if you, my worthy opponents, believe that this change is inevitable or unintentional, are you approving that marriage encourages loss of self? My team member will expound and solidify the points that I have made, that marriage should not aim to change and is not a path to change. My worthy opponents, I have established that my team and I do not agree with the moot. Be it resolved that marriage changes an individual, and our stance is on the basis of an individual being unchangeable, and a marriage that aims to change is not a pure or true marriage. Will you, my opponents, now try to argue that God's work of an individual can be changed, or that a true marriage warrants loss of self? I thank you.
Thank you, Ashana. At this time, we will hear from the second speaker from the Affirmative team, Ms. Karen Davis from the Otrius Baptist Church.
Ladies and gentlemen, as my teammate has so clearly stated in her points before, it should now be evident to us that marriage indeed changes an individual. As she previously mentioned, this is evident through 1, personality, and 2, belief in gender role. Let me now further expound with 2 key points which proves that marriage does change an individual: finance and religion. According to Stacey Francis, founder and CEO of Francis Financial, a wealth management boutique in New York, the biggest advantage after saying "I do" is that your earnings typically go up and your expenses go down. This leads to marriage couples accumulating more assets than their non-married counterparts. The main reason for this would be that there are 2 incomes to join. With both incomes working together, then bills are shared, groceries, car insurance, and much more. At least one study has shown that marriage has a more positive impact on wealth creation than staying single. Jay Zaksky, a researcher at the Ohio State University, authored the most complete research to date on the economic of marriage back in 2005. His research found that married folks experience individual net worth with increase of 77% over singletons in their 20s, 30s, and early 40s. Married couples also see their wealth jump 16% for each year of marriage. When you become a party of 2, there are other financial pros you may not have thought about before. You now have the urge to get your personal financial act together. It's one of the things to ignore your finances when you are not being hurt, when you're not the one being hurt. However, it's a whole other thing to be putting in jeopardy the financial future of the one you love the most. This is a great thing, as the union often encourages more consciousness of how you're spending and saving. The very commitment of getting married often creates a mindset of wanting to care for and protect the person, which in turn can catapult financial well-being to a front burner topic. Now, as for religion, this is another aspect which changes for an individual when they get married. Typically, at the start of a marriage, there is some level of agreement on your faith or your religion. Oftentimes, partners share the same belief, and those beliefs serve as a cornerstone for the foundation of their marriage. Now, the Bible states in Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 that 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, then one can help them up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will be warm. But how can one keep warm alone? According to Gary Thomas, author of Sacred Marriage, the reason God became flesh was so that we might know him. God did not create marriage just to give us a pleasant means of repopulating the world and providing a steady societal institution for the benefits of humanity. He planted marriage among humans as to draw individuals closer to him. Marriage creates an opportunity to deepen your relationship with God and to become more Christ-like. The ways in which you and your spouse grow will be yet another means of you glorifying Him. Married couples who look to Christ see changes in ways they learn how to, one, love. As marriage can be the gym in which our capacity to experience and express God's love is strengthened and further developed. To get there, we have to realize that human love and divine love aren't separate oceans, but rather one body of water with many tribulations. We show our love for God in part by loving our spouses well. Second, respect. In closing, the song titled Marriage License by Junior Reid emphasizes that marriage is a serious thing. Therefore, individuals must be careful how they put on the wedding ring. And I'm sure for the married couples, they will agree with me. So I stand here resolute in my mood that marriage indeed changes an individual. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Thank you, Karen. We now welcome Mr. Kimani Winter from the Exchange Baptist Church, who is the second speaker of the opposing team.
A pleasant afternoon to you all. I, Kimani Winter, is the second speaker, and our team firmly negate the mood. Be it resolved that marriage changes individuals. As Christians, and in the society at large, there is a common misconception about marriage. It is to believe that individuals change after getting married, but this is not where we stand. In Malachi 2, verses 14, marriage is described as a holy covenant before God. This demonstrates that both husband and wife see marriage as more than just a physical and emotional union, but also a moral and legal commitment. My opponent, it is clear, it speaks absolutely nothing of change. Marriage was designed by God, and it is a norm within our societies. Ladies and gentlemen, my worthy opponents, I consider marriage to be extremely important and one of the most satisfying relationships. However, I will not share the notion that individuals change after marriage. Dr. Karen Finn, a life and divorce coach, highlights 3 of the most common unrealistic beliefs and expectations in marriage. These are: 1. Once you are married, you will live happily ever after. 2. Your spouse's job is to make you a better or more evolved person. 3. You will be able to make your spouse change into the ways you want him or her to. The expert Dr. Finn outlined that these are merely expectations when one enters a marriage. Getting married is a lifelong commitment that should be taken seriously and entered into consciously. When choosing your life partner, never settle for less than the ideal person. Don't marry or dancer believing that changes will come after marriage. Make your decision wisely. Do not rush into a marriage believing that your partner will change after saying "I do." In my view, and the view of the others such as Dr. Finn and Emily V. Gordon, who are professionals in the area of marriage and divorce, believe that a partner doesn't change just because you marry them. They are human beings and have flaws and limitations like anyone else. There will be times when they simply cannot be there for you emotionally. My worthy opponents, if you think that marriage is going to provide constant, never-ending change, then you are in for a wake-up call. Emily V. Gordon, couple and family therapist, in a recent article, said that, and I quote, "Marriage is a ceremony that cements a bond between 2 human beings. And while that is a great deal, that's all it does. Marriage will not change your spouse. It will not make him or her more mature and certainly not more loyal to you. However your partner treats you now is exactly how they'll treat you once you are married, and to assume otherwise is simply setting yourself up for failure. In the 21st century, most couples aren't married and are hesitant to get married due to the many pitfalls associated with marriage. Research done by Institute for Family Study showed that in 2020, 39% of marriages in the United States ended in divorce. The study revealed that the major contributors were lack of commitment, infidelity, conflict, and substance abuse. My worthy opponents, having these problems, do you think we'd be facing these problems? Do you think we'd be facing these issues? And do you think we would be seeing this alarmingly high divorce rate? Certainly not. People change at various points in their lives. The longer you know someone, it is more likely for you to see them change. It is rarely a major life event such as marriage that causes a change. In my humble opinion, individuals do not change after marriage. They become more open and comfortable towards each other and compared to when they are not married. Ladies and gentlemen, my worthy opponents, what marriage changes are things like your finances. With this being said, this team firmly opposes to the moot, be it resolved that marriage changes an individual. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have a break during which we'll hear the song by Junior Reid called Married Life. A break for 5 minutes. It gives the reasons why persons get married, some of which include a fancy car, positions, or even for a superstar. It also indicates that marriage is a serious thing. If anyone would like to leave a comment or ask any questions, we will take it during this break. After which, we'll have the rebuttals from both teams. First, the opposing team, followed by the affirmative team.
Husband and wife,
and get big in a society. Some married to the water position, then them now. Some married to the want a green card. Life of a yard, life of abroad. Some married to the want later on a big conflict. Husband and wife, husband and wife, husband and wife, husband and wife. Husband even over man land thing watch him wife. John in him life, John in him life, John wreck him life, John wreck him life, John want to him life, John want take him life. Whoa. Even over man I say what him wife, do a man dog I say what him wife, do John in him life, John in him life, whoa, John in him life, John in him life, no, 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 no. Did he want, did he want, did he want, did he want, whoa.
Welcome back to our debating session. We'll now move right into our rebuttals. First, we'll have Miss Jodian Levy from the Exchange Baptist Church from the opposing team. Please welcome Miss Levy.
Panelists, opponents, and audience, good evening. It is said that marriage changes individuals, but as you know, my teammates and I strongly believe that this is not so. I wonder how it is that marriage changes individuals when you are the same. It is just that you are now united as one with your spouse. As stated by the first speaker, an individual cannot be changed, and marriage which changes an individual defeats what marriage is about. Also, as the second speaker correctly said, don't marry a dancer thinking they would change, meaning if a person pursues qualities that you don't like or cannot work with, why marry them? The first speaker spoke about personalities and gender role, which are unrealistic expectations that are discussed by my teammates. Overall, you cannot plant peas and expect corn. Also, my opponent, you said that marriage changes individual. You are correct, but marriage causes change. However, it does not change an individual. So I stand with you today, strongly with my team, with the mood Be it resolved that marriage does not change individual, and we strongly oppose this. I thank you.
Thank you, Jodian. And we'll now have our final speaker from the Affirmative team, Mr. Antoine Cunningham from the Paritown Baptist Church.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, judges and my worthy opponents. This evening, my fellow teammates and I have made very clear on brief points on why we think marriage changes an individual. We believe this because we have interacted with married couples and their responses were, after being married, a lot of compromising have had to be done in order for the marriage to be successful. Marriage changes a person fundamentally and also causes couples to undergo significant personality changes. They now become less agreeable and more cooperative. A very crucial point made by my teammate Torike is that husband now become less extroverted, and that means the husband is now less socially confident. They are less likely to hang out with friends because they have a wife that treats them like a king at home. She also stated that the husbands also become more conscientious, which means they start to work even harder and become more responsible, which is key for a husband. Another important point stated by my partner Karen is that with both persons bringing in income, bills, groceries, car insurance, etc., all those expenses have to now be shared among the two and take both persons' cooperation. So now, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, marriage does change an individual. I thank you.
We have now come to the end of our debate session, and might we say it was exciting, informative, and very inspiring by our youth. Thank you all for tuning into our session. But which side are you on? Are you on the affirmative side that believes that marriage does change an individual? Or are you on the opposing side that believes that marriage does not change an individual? Once again, please give our debaters a round of applause. I would like to thank each member from the opposing team and the affirmative team, along with their coaches, who prepared them for such a wonderful debate. And also to the support team who took the time out of their schedule for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. And as we close, we will listen to the song by Taros Riley, Stay With You. Have a God bless night.
Been together for a while now, growing stronger every day now. Feels so good and there is no doubt I will stay with you as each morning tendency to grow cold. We've got something like a miracle. I will stay with you. Oh, I will stay with you through your ups and your downs. I will stay with you when no one else is around. And when the dark clouds surround, I will stay by your side. And I know we'll be alright. I will stay with you. There'll be heartaches and pain. Yeah, yeah. Through it all, we'll remain. In this life, we all know friends they come, friends they go. But through the years, I know I will stay. And in the end, we'll find love so beautiful